says Nicholas Checker, also known as Nick, also known as Nicky, also known as some things that are, yeah, you can start. Some things that are not flattering. And those are the ones that best describe them. Okay, first off, please make sure your cell phones are off, even though there is a little bonus I'm going to throw in a couple of minutes, but let's make sure those are off entirely. They are a major, major, major distraction, so please take care that they're off. We have a company videographer, and we've sound checked and light checked and everything. One of our performers, David Hamilton, has set up his video camera. The original reason I set it up is because one of my writers, one of my 7 writers, is in California pursuing his acting career, but he wanted to stay in the program. And he would never have known about the program if not during the COVID year, when his mother saw the thing about the playwriting program in the paper and reminded him that he was in a production here. It was very Dragon's Egg with me. He became one of our more valued writers. The chance came to continue his acting. He's quite good writer, good actor. Peter Yakovetsky, you'll see his work later with a special performer for it. Okay, so anyway, in case you missed the donation box on the way in, during the reception, whatever you can put in there is fine. I'm not one of those suggested donation people because I'd like everybody to be able to come. So whatever you can toss in there, it goes toward this wonderful facility here. It goes towards feature events that Mario Urson and Dan Potter allow to have here. They're the Mystic Paper Beast. This is their facility. Dan designed it. I once told people it looks like aliens dropped a futuristic dance and theater studio in the middle of the Ledger Woods. The first time I pulled in, I looked and I said, wow, a flying saucer, a giant one. So, but we get to perform in this. That's Maria back there. Let's give her a big hand. Because the playwriting program, as it says in here, you will see why we call it an emotional tour de force, because they will all take you on a ride. Every one of these characters, every one of these scripts. And as it states, a character begins in a state of angst, very troubled, and then struggles with that angst, unsure of himself or herself, and battles back and forth with the inner demons, and then finally comes face to face for a showdown with how things are going to be resolved. Sometimes for better, sometimes for worse. It is totally contingent upon how the writer designs it. When we start, each writer will come up and introduce himself or herself. And the writer is going to tell you 3 things. Who am I? What did I write? And a log line. A log line is a brief sentence describing what the piece is about. A quick sentence that's just supposed to do 2 things. Give you an idea what it's about and make you want to see it. Okay, so these special thanks down here, just read it later, because I feel an enormous debt of gratitude to all those people. The program functions out of the Thames Club in New London, and that arrangement was made originally through Jeannie Siegel and Steve Siegel of the Guard Arts Center, and Darren Wood of Flock Theater. And so our exploratory playwriting program is done in coordination with the Guard and with Flock. And the Thames Club is our home base. And I've listed Ramon Lasso Flores, the president, and Mark Mashaw, the manager. These people believe in the arts. I think I'm paraphrasing from Dead Poets Society, where they say, yes, doctors keep us alive. The arts is why we live. I believe that. I believe that. Dan and Maria, that's what they're about. If there are people that could be described as a personification of arts, they'd have a picture of both of them in there, because that's what they are. They are the arts come to life. Okay, I embarrass people when I say nice things about them, but I don't like to say nice things. So when I do, it's sincere. There is a reception afterwards, and what a layout we have. There's wine, there's cider, there's water, there's food you want to eat, believe me. So please stick around afterwards, and you'll see the writers, and you'll see our two actresses. Talk to them afterwards. Tell them what you thought. They'd love to hear from you. Unless you're joining, you want to join the program, get involved, don't talk to me. Talk to them, because they're doing all the work today. Okay, and I think I've covered most everything except the following. Yes, the cell phones. Now that I've told you to turn them off, I'm going to allow them back on, but briefly, and then I want them off entirely. I'm going to tell you why. And I trust you on your honor and your code of etiquette. When you turn them off, don't turn it back on. Did I get a message? Oh, did I get a text? Oh, I'm going to look at this anyway. The actors and the writers have this crazy, ridiculous idea in their heads that you actually came here to see them. So we want you to honor them by giving them your full attention. But for the moment, again, we have our company videographer, and David is videotaping everything. It's all set. He's one of our performers and one of our writers too. But I especially did it because one of our writers is 3,000 miles away, and I wanted him to see a nice recording of his work. So that's why I'm doing it. So I just thought, we'll just tape the whole thing. Okay, pictures. Here's what I'm going to allow. Each writer, well, if the writer is also the performer, the writer/performer will come up here and will assume a number of tableaus. You can take all the pictures you want then. I'm going to allow the cell phones back on, and they will, each one will come up and get in a tableau of what they're doing in the performance. They're going to come up here and do a dramatic freeze, and they're going to be performing. And click, 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 click. If there is a writer who has an actor, or actress in this case, yeah, I still say actor and actress. You know, I don't say what other people tend to say. I say what I want to say. And so they're actresses, and they're excellent ones. So their writer will come, sit proudly in the chair, and the actress will go through a number of tableaus, click, click, click. Now, one of our writers, however, is 3,000 miles away, and he wasn't able to commute to it. So, Dad is here, Mom is here, Sis is here. One of those three will come up and assume the spot in the chair to sit proudly in Peter's spot. We also know him as Dr. No. And that person, while the actress is out here in tableaus, will represent Peter. Okay, we will have a kin sitting in the chair. Okay, once we're done with those tableaus, we begin. And I'm going to try to go through this without intermission. I'm going to gauge it, see your energy level as an audience. It runs just a little over an hour, so it might be good just to run through the whole thing. So, first off, anyone that would like to take pictures, put your cell phones on right now, and Buffalo, come on up here. He's known as the water buffalo. You can go on. Okay, this is Hank, and he will now go through a series of tableaus. Click away, click away. Okay, a couple more tableaus. Someone said to me earlier, "This is nice of you," and as Scrooge said to Bob Cratchit, "Yes, I know it, so you don't have to tell me." Okay, everybody get their pictures? Okay, Buffalo to the sea. David, come on up. You will be the escort service later on, too. I'll tell you when it's on deck time. Click away. What do you see is peace. Everybody done? kind and compassion on my spot, because unless you're a feral cat, I don't demonstrate those qualities. Okay, let's bring Firelight to the chair. Slowly, carefully. Yes.
Okay.
Oh, yes, because you're performing from the chair. So
And then
just,
now?
yeah, so just kind of sit in the chair and go through some tableaus of your character.
Wow!
But don't say anything.
You got the impression?
Don't say anything, just go through the silent tableaus. Click away.
What was that thing?
Get ready.
He said today.
Don't say anything, just go through tableaus. Everybody got them? Okay, go. Let's go over back, thank you. Shirley Temple, am I up here? Whoops, Temple?
I'm okay.
Let me do the leading. That's right. Okay. Now this is for your piece that you're performing. She's going to be performing twice today. Her own script. So go through all your rating things. Everybody click. And we get all our pictures taken. Okay. Willow, come on up here. Stay there, because you're going to be performing for her. Where's that goofy hat? Here's the hat. Thank you. Here, put this on for now. And go through the tableaus. You'll understand these gestures when you see the piece. Okay, so I got everybody. Back to your chairs. And now we are ready to begin. Okay, so now, kill the cell phones entirely, put them away, out of sight, out of mind.
We forgot one.
Who did I forget? Oh, wait a minute, I'm sorry. Keep them on. Darla, come up here. Who's going to be the family representative? Okay. This is Peter's father. His son is 3,000 miles away, so he is standing here, and Darla, go through your tableaus. Several of them, good. Somehow I hear Bobby Goldsboro singing "See the Funny Little Clown." You got him? Okay, thanks. So now, we will begin the presentation. I really toyed with the idea of letting the music, the instrumental music, play, but I think I like this done without the music. So, our first piece, the writer will come up, and again, the first writer, I almost forgot. Most of his works are dramatizations of a genealogical history of both his colonial and native ancestors. The book is called The Dead. It will be for sale in the lobby during the reception, and Hank will be happy to take your money. But it's a very engaging book, and what he wanted to do was dramatize what he wrote about. So he has created a bunch of one-character wonders, each of which represents a segment of his book. Okay, now come on up. You guys are just about done with me for a while.
My name is Henry R. Stebbins, Jr. I wrote The Fox is in the Hen House. It's about a colonial man dealing with a surprise assault. The part of John Stebbins, Jr., my 6 times great-grandfather, will be played by me. I am John Stebbins. At nearly 60 years, I'm too old to deal with with yet another war with New France. Starting in Europe between the mother countries of England and France, the English colonies called this damned provocation Queen Anne's War. Lord God Almighty! Why could we not just live in peace? For over a year, we had to bear the sour fruits of this blasted conflict. Under the constant threat of imminent attack from the north, 3/4 of the villagers lived outside of Deerfield's palisade and had to move into the fort each night. My family was forced to go into a hasty subterranean shelter there. The extremely cramped and uncomfortable living conditions were made worse when the town needed to quarter 20 garrison soldiers. Living like that, we could not even carry on the normal intimacies of married life. At bedtime, Deerfield stationed a regular watch, despite any wintry conditions that would normally prohibit an attack. Deerfield was wise to take these precautions, for in the middle of 1703, there were ominous signs that the enemy in Montreal might strike the town. Even the governors of New York and Massachusetts notified us about the French intentions. By fall, we were ready to fend off any major strike. Instead, we had sporadic attacks by small groups of natives that succeeded only in capturing a couple of Deerfield men. Now that it's winter, with the heaviest snowfall in many years, what European-style army would attack in winter? While an attack by the French is a remote possibility, why should we suffer from many of our unnecessary deprivations for just a mere whim? In spite of my misgivings, my new son-in-law, Jacques Denoyen, proclaimed, "Fear not, if the French do attack, I pledge to stand by my new bride, your daughter Abigail." Even though rumors persisted that the French were preparing for a major assault last fall, the snowfalls this winter were piled unusually deep. Also, the wooden wilderness stretched for an insurmountable 300 miles between Deerfield and Canada, as a seemingly safe barrier. The feeling of security allayed my fears of a Romish attack. We've had unreliable reports in the past, so I began to breathe more freely and gradually resume our wonted ways of life. On the other hand, my believing that the warnings of invasion were unfounded left open the possibility of disaster. Groggy from being awakened by a wild commotion outside just before dawn, I started for the door of our cramped makeshift shelter. I wondered who would be crazy enough to be out in the deep snow at this time of day. I was startled by the onslaught of French soldiers, wild war-painted Indians smashing down our door with hellish shouts and muskets and tomahawks staring us in the face. They pummeled and prodded us into submitting to their commands. They told us to dress and to go outside immediately. Once outside, we were immediately confronted with the horror of the sounds of battle. Indians were hollering, shooting, clubbing our people with head breakers. This jolted my mind back to Bloody Brook. where I barely escaped unscathed. An additional terror here and now. The French were shooting any who resisted and setting fire to houses, even though the residents were still trapped inside. With the smell of acrid smoke from the musket fire and the sounds of dying in my ears, I dreaded that this would be our fate. I looked up suddenly and saw Jacques Denoyer shaking hands and hugging some of the French soldiers. Jacques admitted the captors standing before us were former friends of his, men submises, who assured him that no harm would come to his new family. He told his friends he was pledged to stand by his new wife, Abigail. Consequently, they would separate us from the captives taken by the natives. The French soldiers would personally escort Abigail and our family on the long trek up to Montreal.
Hey, this is a copy of Hank's book. That will be on sale later. Okay, David, come on up here. They all have nicknames, by the way. I'm known as the Ripper. I was once referred to as a literary Jack the Ripper. I like that.
Hello, my name is David Hamilton. I wrote this play Stage Fright. A young actor battles with the way he performs on stage. I will be performing it myself. Once more, onto the breach, dear friends. Once more. That was supposed to be Shakespeare. My name is Philip. I'm so upset with the jobs I've been getting. They've been small background roles with hardly any lines of dialogue. I put so much investment into acting school. I thought I was ready for the big time. Shakespeare, Samuel Beckett, Oscar Wilde. All I got was community theater. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I'm in it for the big time. I have bills to pay. Where's my big break? I took numerous courses in school to prepare me for the world of theater. What do I have to show for all this hard work? Nothing. I was like a belch during a presidential speech. I should be on Broadway right now. I hired an acting coach because maybe I missed something. Rejection wasn't going to be part of my path. This makes no sense. Why haven't I made it big? My acting coach told me I had the gift. Did my coach lie to me? I convinced myself that I had it all. Did I have the gift? Was it my ego that got in the way? I saw Broadway would be putting my name in lights when I got out of school. Maybe I was wrong. My acting coach suggested that I want people on the news as examples of delivery. My coach probably thought newscasters had poise when speaking. But they spoke as if everything was a question. News at 9. The president went to Israel. Watched so much of it. I can't stop doing it. Sure, my delivery is better, but everything isn't a question. Why did I believe it was real acting? is ridiculous. I don't want to blame my acting coach, but I kind of feel betrayed. What do I have to offer now with my performance? No wonder I didn't get my big break. Never been given the chance to show my abilities. I doubt people will give me a chance now. People don't talk in declarative sentences anymore. Macbeth? Directors turn me down, not because I'm not the right look or I don't have the talent, but because I can't stop my habit. Stop that! It doesn't want to leave me. Maybe I should be a motivational speaker instead. No. Why would I want to do that? Acting is my career. I watch the news every day to get the mood of speaking down. Was all that work for naught? Perhaps. I don't want to give up. I don't want to be a laughing stock. When I go to play a big role, and the first words out of my mouth would be, I'm here for the Glass Menagerie. It wasn't meant to be a question. I don't know why I've gone down this path after all this. Really get out of the speaking funk. I want to improve. But the way I speak while I perform is silly. If I can't bounce back, I can be like the newscasters. At least there, I blend in. I don't want to blend in. I want to excel. I know my presence on stage is not good now. But I don't have any idea how to fix this. Is this what humility feels like? I don't like it. But I have to face the critics eventually. I have nothing else to fall back on. I thought acting would give me job security for life. Accepting this as failure is not what I want to do. But what options have I got? Was my acting coach misguided? Yes? Oh. I need to be better than this. The acting career is finished before it even started. I'm ready to give up on acting if it helps with any future job prospects. I don't have any choices. I mean, I could do community theater, but would they still want me? I doubt it. I need to start over. This is humbling. I blame my coach and believing my flawed acting. I led myself down this path. First, I need to find a job, not acting, and build my confidence back up. Community theater, though it's not the big time, it's what I need to reboot my career. I need to watch great actors and to learn from them true poised acting. Maybe I'll audition as Biff from Death of a Salesman. It's not ideal, but it's a start. It's time to start anew. I'll use Henry V's quote from Shakespeare as a new motto. Once more unto the deep, reach, dear friends, once more.
It's an eclectic group and quite a wide variety of topics they've chosen. Shirley Temple, as I call her, think of yourself as a bunch of children listening to this animated tale.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for coming out for our presentation. My name is Joanne Gala Brown. The title of my piece is Snacks for a Meteor Shower. The pressure is on for a young raven to secure snacks for a sacred meteor shower show. I will be playing the part of Bonnie Jo the Raven. Now, as a mature raven, I understand that a group of ravens being called an unkindness does not help to silence the myth that the mere sight of the huge, feathered, shiny black birds brings about fear. The truth is, we ravens are here on Earth to protect certain humans. Our compassion is set off, especially when an unkindness or just one raven observes the nasty blue jay attacking a human. And it was when my parents were defending a young, innocent, unattended child that I, Bonnie Jo the Raven, at just 2 weeks old, became an orphan. The loss of my beloved parents caused my 3 nestlings and I to cry ourselves to sleep. Upon waking, the hunger for the affection of our parents, empty stomachs, but worst of all, the realization of not knowing how to travel the world caused uncontrollable sobs for help, only for the heart-wrenching pleas to be drowned out by the howling wind of an approaching hurricane. The sorrow was broken when I found myself beak deep in the warm fur of a coyote, sheltering under the high branches of my former home. Unanswered cries from my brothers and sisters led to an exhausted slumber. But I was awakened by voices debating if the shiny black bird was still alive, would it be able to secure meteor shower viewing snacks for next month's show? Yes, members of the animal kingdom do speak the same language, but not understanding the words spoken, I panicked, wanting to escape, but not knowing how. I nestled deeper into the warm fur, shivering with fear, worried as to what to do. Soon, a painful hunger took over. Slowly and quietly rising out of the fur, I stared at a group of animals gobbling food that the hurricane had blown under the tree. So hungry, wanting to eat, but not sure if I too would be part of dinner. Unexpectedly pushed out of the fur by a cold, wet nose, I landed feet and feathers, shivering with fear. As they shoved food in front of me, I stood there shocked at the sight of a brown and gray ragged coyote, a sleek spotted bobcat, a dancing raccoon, and a graceful heron, all commanding that I eat. Not knowing if I should flee, and watching everyone gobbling their food, I too ate to my fill. Then, the group surrounded me. Was I to be gobbled up next? Instead, they offered me a choice. To provide snacks for the next meteor shower and become part of this unattended pack of hurricane orphans, or to sally forth out into the world alone. As I stared high up into the faces as to the ones who had cared for me, tears filled my eyes while anxiously thinking, what is a snack? What is a meteor shower? What is a alone. How do I go about doing what? I turned to flee, my wings moving as swiftly as a young bird's can. I did not want to go to that place called alone. The bobcat came after me, picked me up with his mouth, and returned me to the warm fur of the coyote. At a mature 7 weeks old, it was time for the test. Would I provide snacks for the meteor shower and take my place in what had become my unlikely family of hurricane orphans, or will I be sent out to alone? All I knew was what I had seen during my short life as I peeked from the warm, safe fur of the coyote. So I decided to do just what I had watched the ragged coyote, the sleek bobcat, the comical raccoon, and the graceful great blue heron do to come up with these important snacks. Would 2 feet, feathered wings, and 1 beak be able to bring home snacks? Maybe I should just leave and go to the land of alone, wherever that is. No one will miss me. Or will they? Not having a minute to feel sorry for myself, my new family surrounded me and wished me good fortune on my search for party snacks. They assured me that if I did just what I had watched them doing, I would have snacks in no time. At 7 weeks old, I started my journey. As I was soaring over the pond at the bottom of the hill, I spotted a lively, colorful fish. I freely dove to catch it and bring it home, only to learn that fish are heavy and ravens don't swim. The sympathetic, graceful heron fished me out and sent me on my way to my next test. Flying over the roads, I spotted some flattened animals and landed on my prize. As I was deciding how to haul this huge snack to the party hill, scraggly, emaciated coyotes, strangers to our neighborhood, with crazed eyes, pulled the snack away, while big, colorful animals with round black circles for feet screamed with a sharp, honking sound. Clearly, I knew what to do because I had watched my family find and bring home food. What was wrong with me? Would I be able to pass this test, or would I have to go to that place called alone? Remembering what the smiling masked raccoon did to find food, I flew to the garbage cans behind the big house at the end of the street. There was no one there, so I figured I could take my time prying the garbage can tops off and have all the snacks that I would want. My efforts were in vain, as I realized that the masked raccoon was successful in prying garbage cans off because he had 2 hands, 2 feet, and strong teeth. Thinking that I probably don't belong with this new family of mine, I decided that I might try one more idea. The swift, quiet bobcat cased out picnics and was able to get lots of snacks, probably because he looked like a pretty house cat. So I flew over the neighborhood, found a picnic with all kinds of food. I landed on a table. And before I could decide what to take, I was being chased by a group of loud, shrieking people with big brooms. I flew to the nearest branch. If I couldn't do something that I watched, how could I possibly find where I belong in alone? A familiar noise, that of a squeaking gate, brought me out of my troubling thoughts. is when I saw a vicious blue jay attacking a young woman who was packing one of those animals that had big round black feet. I think they call them cars. I remembered what my parents had done to protect their charge of long ago and reacted to the sight. I quietly soared high above and dove with the strength so focused that I impaled the blue jay with my beak and freed the young, frightened woman of the assault. Standing on the roof of the home, catching my breath, I watched the young, bloodied woman crying hysterically as she ran into her home. Thinking that she was afraid of me, I flew to a nearby tree. I was grateful that I was able to protect the young woman from more harm. But unlike my parents, I survived. And now, as I failed at bringing home snacks for the party, I sadly faced once again how to journey to alone. As I was about to take off and say goodbye to my feathered and furry family, the young woman, now with many white spots on her arms and face, ran out of her home with another older woman. When she saw me, she pointed to me and emptied a bag full of many colors on top of the hill. The colors flowed out, almost covering the hill. She waved to me many times and smiled and cried, and smiled and cried. Went into the animal and rolled away. As I was flying over my home for the last time, I noticed my family on top of the hill that we live on. They waved to me. I landed among the group, ready to say thank you and goodbye. I noticed that my friends were eating the colors that were dumped out of the bag. I joined them. There were leftover snacks from the meteor shower party.
I should point out that that talented writer and also talented actress, it is her birthday today. Now, we have a piece, this writer, I call her the pioneer. And the reason I call her the pioneer, she was in a playwriting program of mine many years ago. And she wrote this incredible piece that was accepted into the local Playwrights Festival at the Eugene O'Neill Theater. So I call her the pioneer because she pioneered a lot of the success a number of my students will experience. I'm very proud of her. Don't let her go to your head. Okay, she's going to come up and tell you about Bittersweet.
Good afternoon. My name is Ellen Dahl, and I wrote Bittersweet. It's about a Latina teenager who seeks freedom from bondage.
Who's playing this role?
Be performed by Adriana Cedeno.
I've been sorting stupid cacao beans since dawn. They call this place the processing barn. I call it the hellhole. Where is that disgusting guy? Oh, I can smell his stink, sweat, and cigar. He's close. Quitting time, you bitch! Every day, I want to scream, my name is Angela, you pig! But, if I say anything, I get smacked.
I'm starving. I miss Mama's cooking. Her beef chili and black bean soup. Here, dinner is always red beans and rice crawling with bugs. How did I end up here? Mama got pregnant again and couldn't work. So, they met with a farmer, a mangy quixote, who promised to employ me and give them my wages. What fools they were to believe him! I thought that baby in Mama's belly was replacing me. I knew it. And if it was a boy, I won't stand a chance. Well, always the good daughter, I hopped into the farmer's filthy truck. We just kept driving. Where was he taking me? And finally, we stopped at this white gate. And then the farmer ordered me out of his truck. And then he took off. My parents couldn't have known I'd end up here. Could they? But they couldn't wait for me to leave and earn them money. Mama, Papa, please find me. Have they stopped looking? My parents didn't ask me how I felt about leaving home and to work for the farmer. I should have said I could find a better job. But instead, I was ripped away from everything that I love, including the youth center. I had fun. Was I taken because of something I'd done? I did tease my little sisters a lot. And I didn't say after dinner prayers with my family. But I did everything my friends did at home. I hate my parents. Once I was old enough to earn that money, they stopped loving me. Were they so desperate that they didn't care what happened to me? I remember their smiling faces when they waved goodbye. But actually, they were saying, "Good riddance, Angela." Of course they were. They needed room for the new baby. Maybe the new baby was a boy. I would never compete with him. Oh, that rotten farmer, hijo de mierda! How could he promise anyone a better life? His promises were all lies, carajo. I doubted anyone was still looking for me. I was lost and alone. How could I bear this place? Were Mama and Papa bad people? Maybe. But they weren't evil. They were struggling like every family. But good people protect children, don't they? If my wages went to them, did they even worry if I would survive? Did they even care? I showed them respect, and in my childish obedience, it cost me my freedom. What a baby I was! I couldn't even speak for myself. Like a fool, I thought family and home were a given. Now I don't even have a name. I used to pray to be rescued. Not anymore. Now nobody was looking for me. I am dead. I have to be free. But how? I stopped blaming and asking why. Then, one day, as I was sorting rotten beans, I noticed the skin on my fingers was thicker. Was my heart also calloused? I tried to imagine Mama's beautiful face and my sister's sweet giggles. Nothing! If I just had one sweet memory to hold on to. I didn't. Had I forgotten love? If I just had one crumb of hope, my memories would return. But I was hopeless. Every morning, I'd gag on the plantain mush and weak coffee, and I was dragging with exhaustion. I had not one thing to look forward to. I was 14 years old, and I was trashed by this whole dirty, nasty place. I used the last bit of strength I had to plan to end my misery. I would starve. I pretend to eat, but then stuff hay in my clothes to hide my loneliness. Why should I keep living if death promised eternal freedom? Tomorrow, at dawn, I begin to end this nightmare. Time to sleep. When my sisters giggled, I felt Mama whisper in my ear, "Rise and shine, princess." The warm smells of bread and rich coffee curled around me. Get up, you lazy bitch! My dream shattered. But now I knew pretending to eat, I began eating again. And sometime later, as I was hiking from the bunkhouse to the hellhole, I spotted skinny brown boys cutting down bean pods and another boy stacking them in a wagon on the ground. One of the bean pods hit him in the head. Still, they were laughing and joking amongst themselves. At that moment, a thought struck me. Like a whip. Move it, you filthy puta! I turned around to face him, and I said, "My name is Angela, you chancho, you pig." He lunged at me and punched the air, but I ducked, and then he chased me around the cobble trees, and then he collapsed on the ground, gasping for air. I finally escaped, until some other guy grabbed me from behind, kicking and screaming to the barn. I was bloodied and broken. But my spirit soared. And suddenly, I saw this captured girl peeking outside of the barn, smiling at me with her ragged brown teeth. Smiling. And then more faces started to appear, brown faces, smiling. I thought I heard the faint clapping of hands. Then, total darkness. I was finally free.
Okay, we're in the home stretch here. I will be speaking for Peter Gapanetsky, who is, again, in California. This piece, the last lap, or a clown of a uncertain future, because the world seems to want scary clowns instead of funny clowns. He performed it himself over at the Gard Arts Center when we did a presentation there. Got some nice words from my screenwriting mentor, Peter Filardi, very successful from Hollywood, and his brother, Jason, who is still out in Hollywood, is kind of helping Peter out along, because he's proven what his talents are. And so I did that intro there, and from 3,000 miles away with modern technology, Peter acted as director, and he said, maybe a woman doing the role. And we have a woman doing the role, a very talented one. Darla Allen.
When was the last time you saw a funny clown in a movie? Or on TV? They're getting rare, aren't they? All my life I loved clowns. Go figure, right? I always wanted to make people laugh. That's what clowns do. At least, that's what I thought. That's what I remember, but it feels like they changed all the rules while I wasn't here. Moved on, left me behind. Seems nobody wants clowns anymore. That's not true. They want scary clowns. Read something the other day, some study said people were always scared of clowns. Nobody ever really liked them. Well, I did. I remember people laughing. Kids used to love clowns, birthday clowns and circus clowns. There were clowns hosting TV shows. I didn't make all this up. I didn't dream it. Doesn't matter, though. The voice of the people has spoken. There's no work. You want to know what busy season is for clowns these days? October. Haunted houses, Halloween. I don't get it. Nobody clued me into the gag, just moved on with the bit and act like I'm crazy for not keeping up. I don't know, maybe it is me. The world's changed, whether I like it or not. Maybe I should change with it. Maybe. It was always like this, and I just never noticed. Maybe I should give the people what they want, huh? Clowns are supposed to be scary. I can be scary. Laughs, screams, response is a response. Play to the crowd, right? Where's the harm? But it's not what clowning is all about. It's not why I became a clown. And it's not even clowning, really. I mean, yeah, sure, you gotta play to your audience, give them what they want, but this time, they're wrong. So what? First rule of comedy, nobody laughs. The joke ain't funny. But when did that make it scary? When did the world decide that? I don't know. I don't know. They can't all be wrong, can they? Who the hell am I to argue? Just play to your audience. And what's the point in fighting it? The point is, I'm right, goddammit. I'm not the one who's broken. I'm not the one who's screwed up. They are. The world is it. Who am I kidding? The whole world? I'm alone. I'm old. No. I'm a holdover. Outdated, outmoded, old hat, a minority of one. Don't matter, right? Can't change the world. Better to just play along. Keep yourself up to date. Give them what they want. This is good. I'm making a good choice. The right choice. The only choice left to me. No, don't think like that. This is my call. I love being a clown, and this is how I do it. I'll get rolling again. And a scary clown's still a kind of clown. town, and who knows? If I'm good at this, maybe I'll get to do it full time. Picture that. Working full time as a proper, modern, scary clown, making people scream and not laugh. Never laugh again. Stop it. You weren't making them laugh anyway. They were never going to laugh. But I was trying to at least. And if they don't laugh, and it's because I'm not trying to be funny, then what am I doing? If I sell out, if I give in, then what am I? It's not just going along, it's betrayal, capitulation. If I'm the holdover and I say, oh, you're right, clowns are scary, look at me, I can be scary too, then I'm just saying that, no, I won't. Maybe there's no room left for clowns anymore. Maybe I'll never make someone laugh again, but I won't go along with it. I won't pervert myself. Better to just cease. Go away. You want the last laugh, world? It's yours. But I won't laugh with you. And it won't be at my expense.
Okay, we're down to our last two. You've been a wonderful, wonderful audience. These programs, by the way, were printed up. I designed them, and Jeannie Siegel printed them up for us. That's how she is. Afterwards, when you're talking during the reception, you're drinking the wine and eating and everything, and you're talking to the writers and the actors and everything, if you enjoyed that last piece, and I don't see how you could not have enjoyed it, let Peter's parents and his sister know, and I'll relay your thoughts to them. Okay. This is Firelight, also known as Thelma, and I'm going to let her tell you about the piece she's going to perform now.
Well, first of all, I am delighted that you are all here. I hope you're having a good time. Hope my piece doesn't demoralize you. Wow, get some reaction. I'm the oldest member of the group, and they pamper me. And sometimes I don't want to be, but I know I should be at my age. Anyway, I wrote a little play called The Uninvited. Scary, huh? It's about a widow who is plagued by an intimidating ghost. I will be playing the role of the widow. I guess you're surprised at that. My name is Bertha, but my family and my friends call me Bertie. I was born and raised on a little a Chippewa Indian when I was 18 years old and we moved to California 2,000 miles away. Well, today is my birthday and I am 70 years old. There really isn't much else to talk about, except that 1 year ago, I lost my sweet Henry, my husband in love of 50 years, to that dreaded disease, cancer. Was a very exuberant and rugged man of 215 pounds. He wasted away to 125 pounds before that insidious disease snatched him from me. Henry had been my hero in my shield, protected me from all things evil. But now I am alone and vulnerable. When Henry was in the hospital, fighting for his very life, I tried to put on a brave face. But it was very hard, hard and unbelievably stressful. Many hours were spent by his hospital bed, just watching him breathe in and out, in and out, while he slept. When I wasn't in the hospital and I was home alone, I became very anxious when the telephone would ring. I didn't want to be home alone when my husband died. Well, when Henry was in the hospital, he really tried to control everything. And he refused to allow his family and friends to help him financially. And he told me, you better not let them help you. Now, we didn't have any children, so we didn't have them to help us. And as the cancer progressed, so did the financial obligations. I ran myself ragged, trying to find a way out of the financial situation. But I failed. I lost our home of 40 years through foreclosure. I didn't get to tell Henry about the change in our living situation because he died. He was alone when death took him. Well, I was in the cafeteria ordering a bagel and a cup of coffee. It didn't matter that I had been visiting with him just 15 minutes earlier. I had left him alone, and he had just died, just like that. I didn't get to say goodbye. I didn't get to tell him one more time how much I loved him. I didn't get to see him. I didn't get to tell him. Did he reach out for me? Did he struggle when death took him? Oh Lord, what have I done, God? I failed him. I failed Henry when he needed me the most. When all I was out trying to get was a measly bagel and a tender cup of coffee. I didn't get to hold him, and I didn't get to kiss him when he took his last breath. For a moment, a lifetime moment, I wanted to join him in his crossover journey. Almighty God of all things possible, the God of strength and unrelenting power, the God of love, forgiveness, and understanding, the God of today, yesterday, and tomorrow. Please welcome into heaven your devoted servant, my sweet Henry. Amen. My family was pressuring me to cremate Henry and move back to Mississippi. I didn't want to burn that Henry magnificent body. nor did I want to move back to Princeton, Mississippi, and be a burden upon my family. I found a small apartment to rent and a lovely plot to lay my wonderful roof me, lovely Henry. I moved into the apartment, by the way, within a week of the scheduled foreclosure time. After one day of moving things around, you move things around, you store things. I was tired. I was downright exhausted. So, I decided I would go and take a little rest on the living room sofa. And guess what? I fell asleep. A cold touch on the back of my neck alerted me that something was not quite right, and it woke me up. What I saw, or what I thought I saw, shook. Shockwaves throughout my soul. In front of me, yeah, really in front of me, and a white translucent tadpole shape was a floating head of Henry. A floating head of Henry. The disemboweled head was grinning as it floated silently around the room, through the wall, to the outside world. Had I experienced a delusion brought on by Henry's death? Well, paranormal activity began to happen on a regular basis. Things started floating. Furniture, books, everything. And sometimes in unison. Right? Was I frightened? Absolutely. What do you mean? Once I entered my kitchen and found a wooden spoon stirring my cabbage soup. None of these things happened when others were around. I was being harassed by an invisible force, a ghost, a demon, or maybe the very devil himself. If I tried to run away, where would I go? A week later, I was awakened from a sound sleep by the presence of a male figure staring at me from the foot of my bed. His body illuminated by an outside street light. In my near panic, I reached over for the bedroom lamp, but in that instant, he was gone. I searched every part of that apartment and could not find any part of it with forced entry. I had a chilling feeling that I had been visited by someone or something from the spirit world. I did not believe it was Henry, because there was no love in that visitation. Maybe the devil himself. If I tried to run away, where would I go? A week later, I was awakened from a sound sleep again by the presence of a male figure staring at me from the foot of my bed. His body again illuminated by a street light. Well, I got up the courage, can you believe it? I got up the courage to ask him his age. No answer. So I started jabbering. I just come off the door, my mother kept jabbering, talking about me and talking about Henry. And how I had come to live in that apartment to avoid homelessness. If I had to leave, where would I go? Well, I finally figured out that he wasn't really trying to kill me. If he wanted to hurt me, he could have. So what was his problem with me? 2 days after the second visitation, I found a book on my living room table, open to a section on Indian burial grounds. Was my apartment on top of an Indian burial ground? Was a night visitor, an Indian ghost, stuck here in our dimension, protecting his holy land? The previous tenants who occupied my apartment also had these ghostly experiences? Well, I went to the leasing officer to find out. Every previous attendant had left abruptly within days of their occupancy, without explanation and without demanding the return of their security deposit. According to land records, my apartment was part of a housing development built over sacred burial grounds, sacred Indian burial grounds. Well, I gotta tell you, I apologize to that Indian ghost that I nicknamed Sam. And yes, I asked for his forgiveness for the treatment his people had experienced. I talked to Sam, and he listened, and I know he did. Because all that crazy stuff, the crazy and zany, and stop. I suggested to Sam that we could coexist in that apartment. And so we did. For 6 long years, not one other further incident did I experience. When I lived in an apartment, I lived there for 6 years. My California friends tell me that the leasing office can't seem to keep my old apartment rented. I guess Sam is keeping busy.
Okay, for our final piece, this one is strictly Act 1. Basically, it's being developed, and this Act 1 is very refined in its development. Kind of stands alone like a complete play unto itself. It's the Act 1 part. So I'll let the writer come up and tell you about it.
Thank you all for coming out on a cold afternoon, which I think we warmed up the room despite Henry. I'm Pam Barber, and I am the author of Life Takes Guts. A middle-aged woman discovers the hardships in her DNA past, and it will be performed by Joanne Gallant-Brown.
For the final performance of the night, our birthday girl, who did double duty already, writing and performing, is now going to perform again. But boy, did she perform great when you go out there and see some of that quiche she made as well. We have a wonderful, wonderful spread. You must come, you must eat, you must drink. Okay.
Bummer. So, I did my DNA test. Everybody's doing it these days, right? Plus, wanted to know more about the women in my family who had come before me. I was hoping for a role model, a writer, or maybe an artist. I'd settle for a nurse, a school teacher, a librarian, or some traditional female occupation. Did I find anyone rich or famous? Not even close. I found out that I'm the last of the line in my mitochondrial DNA, mother, etc. In truth, my ancestors were the dirt-poor, wretched refuse inscribed on the pedestal of the Statue of Liberty. Part of the Irish exit to America during the potato famine, when millions left without saying goodbye. No wonder there wasn't much family lore. My DNA did reveal my 2 times great-grandmother Isabella. And at least now I know where my name came from. Her starved, illiterate mother had 15 children. No wonder she died on the boat coming to America. Really, this is where I came from? Dire Straits? 15 kids? What was wrong with these people? How did they even manage that in a 2-room cottage? I don't want to know. I'm mortified. Not what I had hoped for. I'm struggling with embarrassment and shame. Maybe that's wrong. And then life here was harsh for Isabella growing up. With no other choice or opportunity, she married young. That was expected in those days. God help you if you were gay like me. Her alcoholic father, probably relieved to have one less mouth to feed. And I know he was an alcoholic because I saw his death certificate. The babies came, and long before, Isabella had 5 children. Her husband had become an alcoholic too, and he died young. One of those men that the women's temperance movement would use as an example to fight for women's rights. Like her own mother, Isabella followed the pattern and died young and widowed too, weakened by an ill-fated attempt to go west in a covered wagon. This left Fanny, my great-grandmother, an orphan at age 7, continuing the pattern. Widows, orphans, alcoholics, early deaths, hunger. All those kids that they couldn't even stay alive to take care of. And I'm it. I'm it. The last of the maternal line. It ends with me. I'm even sorry I took the DNA test. It's like a burden I have to carry for the rest of my life.
Okay, so before we go out there, I want to thank you all for coming and being just an exceptional audience. Again, totally grateful to Maria here for making the Dragon's Egg available. Let's please have a hand for her. And, writers, just stand up. I'm going to have you take a quick bow. The actors are changing, so give them one last time. Now, we will show our gratitude to you. Like when you go out there, where do you see that spread? Devour it. Thank you.
You did a wonderful job. Wonderful, yes.
Thanks so much